welcome to yet another episode of Eclectica, the Different News. So today we have an expert in Neurolinguistic programming. I'm sure many of you, like me, are not aware of what is Neurolinguistic programming. So not wasting any more time, I will introduce you to Dr. R. Mangesh Das. So he has a fantastic profile and very less time to speak about him and his achievements. Well, Dr. Mangesh, with 26 years of experience as an OD consultant, motivational speaker, corporate trainer, coach, psychotherapist, and professor in management, is a graduate in physics, possesses a Ph.D. degree on stress management, M.Phil, and master's degree on PMIR. He has pursued quality improvement programs from XLRI, IIT-KGP, and MDI Gurgaon. At present, he is advisor and co-founder TWARAN. This doesn't end the introduction of Dr. Mangesh. He has in his accolade 2 awards. One is NIPM SB Mishra Gold Medal Award for Excellence in HR. He was also awarded with second best research paper in Indian Society of Training and Development. He is a certified psychometric assessor, a certified behavioral analyst, a certified trainer, and master practitioner for neurolinguistic programming. And I think that is what takes me to call in Dr. Mangesh. And thank you for joining me today at Eclectica. And I give you a warm welcome to this program.
So nice of you. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Dr. Das. So I will have many questions, I think, today. So let me just bombard my questions to you because the thing that I read out, or maybe I introduced while introducing, I just came to know about neurolinguistic programming. I mean, what is neurolinguistic programming, and does it have any relevance with therapeutic science or therapeutic intervention? So I think that would be my first question to ask to you.
Wonderful. I'm very happy that this question is coming up. And neurolinguistic programming, for a common understanding, it is like it's an easy science of using language. That means when we communicate, we are using language. It's a very easy science of using language or our communication to program the mindset or the thinking of a client. And why we program that? Because we want the client to go from not okay state to a okay state, or to a state where the client has a disease, has a problem, something like that, to a state where the client can actually claim its own healthy the state of mind. And why NLP is, the another point about NLP I would like to tell you is that NLP is a practice of the science of success. Suppose someone wants to get, sorry?
I said it's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. So it is the science of, or the study or the practice of achieving success. And there is another point to NLP which is called as, if someone has got success, anyone can learn from it. That means NLP is replicable. So if any process, it's a success, but it is not replicable, it is not NLP. That is why there are 3 things which are very primary for NLP. It is by using a language, by using a general communication, you can reprogram somebody's thought process so that the person can become successful. It is the science or the study of being successful, and it is the process of getting that success replicable. That is why NLP is being used in therapeutic practice to a great extent, Dr. Gagi.
Okay, that was fantastic to know. So my next question to you would be like, I'm myself a healthcare professional, so I would be very interested to know that know the science of NLP, or maybe I think the way you said that it is a programming. I mean, we can program our brain to communicate better. I mean, I'm just understanding in my way. So I would like to know that would a doctor, by any reason, should doctor be using or know the science of NLP?
Absolutely. I know many doctors, they have come and done the certificate of NLP, at least two levels of certification, practitioner and master practitioner. And why it is very helpful is because NLP is the science of generative success. That means there is a process by which a person can generate whatever the person wants to get about life. So it is a process of generative success. And second, it depends on, or it is focused on the subjective experience of a client. Even if a client comes with the same disease, I have seen a lot of people who suffer from, say, diabetes. When they come to the doctor and the doctor wants to go for a diagnosis, their experience of being in that state differs. So NLP is a process of generative success, and it is based on subjective experience. When I talk about subjective experience, I talk about what the person, the client or the patient, it feels. So how he is maintaining that disease, or that impurity, or that in an unacceptable state, and what is the belief of the client that is reinforcing. I have seen a lot of people, suppose say the diabetic client we're taking, lot of belief, they say that there are certain foods, if you eat it, it is not going to accelerate the state of diabetics, whereas some other belief, if you do not eat, then only you can be maintaining. So like that, there are a lot of thought process, the subjective experience the client goes through, and doctor, they want that the client to get inclined or aligned to what is right in the treatment protocol. So that is how it's really very essential. If somebody knows NLP and treats a client, the process becomes so easier. And another aspect I will tell you, like in NLP has a process which is called as neurological levels. And I think all my process, if I talk about that, that starts with something called as the environment, ends with the central psychology. It has got 6 levels. I can give an example, like the levels are like that. First is the environment, then we say the behavior, then we say the capability, then we say the beliefs and the identity. Suppose the highest level mission even we are not discussing here. But the patient is cancerous, the patient is suffering from cancer. So the identity the patient keeps is, I am cancerous, or I am a cancer patient. Now, if you analyze, talk to the client, you will find the client will tell you like, I want to die at my home, because he has a negative belief at that time. So what he's talking about, he's talking about an environment, that he's quite secluded in the environment. Now, the doctor with the language pattern can actually make him to feel comfortable about an environment, can take him out from the environment, then he will see positivity, something like that. Suppose the client says, chemotherapy makes me feel sick. So what the client is talking about, the client is again talking about the next level, which is called as the behavior, the actions, which is going to go about. So again, by using language pattern, we can make the person to go for a treatment. We can actually make him align towards what is right for him. Suppose the client says the third level, which is called capability. He says that I don't know if I have the strength to go on in life. Then, he's missing the capability. And by communication pattern, we can actually help the client to again go through that process and see a possibility. Suppose the values and beliefs, next level, the client says, no one survives with cancer. So it is a value or belief the client actually says. So by using language pattern, we really can make a client to go from a state of impossibility to a state of possibility. And that is how it really helps.
That's fantastic to know. So, how does a doctor or a healthcare professional use NLP in a particular treatment process? Is there a procedure to follow, or can you give us some guidelines in that way?
Absolutely. As we know, any patient comes or a client is in a state where he is not comfortable with the disease or the process or whatever the client has gone through. So that is why what we do, if we want to take the client from a state of problem to a state of solution, the first thing we do is we actually build a rapport with the client. And so there is a NLP process of rapport building, and which says that it's a rapid rapport building process. The moment you follow that process, you can build a rapport very quickly with the client. Once we build a rapport with the client, then we understand what exactly the client is saying, because most of the time, the patients who come, they do not directly state the problem or the disease they have or what they're feeling. That is why we got to actually ask a series of questions to understand the symptoms and to understand what exactly the client is going through. So we have a pattern to ask certain questions so that we can understand what is the subjective experience, what is the map of map of the client. So that is what we understand. Once we understand where the client is coming from, then what we do, we want to make the client flexible from his model of the world. Because if the client is not flexible, the client may not take the treatment processes 100% the way it is to be done. I have seen client, patients, they go to doctor, they take medicines, but they do not take medicines. I mean, they buy medicines, keep with them, but they do not actually follow the way it is scheduled. So when they come up and say, I didn't get the result, because somewhere or other that resistance towards the process is there. That is why in NLP process, what we do, we actually make the client flexible from the mental rigidity. Once the client becomes flexible, then we administer the process. So there is in NLP, there is a process of even administering whatever protocol you want to give to the client. So there is a language pattern. When we use the language pattern, the process of administration, it gets into the mental imprint of the client. Once something gets into the mental imprint, the client actually goes with the process and does it in life, because mental imprint is everything. And then the client starts, seeing the results. So that is how a simple NLP process actually helps. And it's not that when we do, we actually follow it for a 1 hour consultation time. Just within 5 minutes, this can be done. So that is why it is so powerful.
Okay, so
Dr. Kagi.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting. And as we're telling about something about language pattern, so how does actually language pattern help in these cases?
See, and there are actually 3-4 language patterns we actually go ahead with. One is called as meta language pattern. Another is called as Milton language pattern. So what is meta language pattern is sometimes the client misses a lot of information. So we use meta language pattern to recover the information the client has not shared. Then second, when the client has shared with the language, then we use something which is called as a Milton language pattern. We use Milton language pattern to make the client accept the right way of diagnosis, the right way of treatment, that to accept it. So these are basically the 2 language patterns being used. There are also many more language patterns. We say there is a language pattern called agreement frame, metaphor. There is many, and there is another language pattern called as quantum linguistics. I will tell you how this language pattern works, because one has to understand the language pattern. But simply, if I make you understand, we believe, suppose a client comes and tells you that, why is this problem happening to me? Then, as a doctor, if I answer why is the problem happening to the client, it is not helpful for the client at all. So I can use a language pattern. I can say, do you want to understand why this is happening to you, or you want to know how you can make yourself grow? So the moment I use the language pattern, I say, you want to stay there, why the problem, or you want to see a solution, what you can do about it. By using a simple language pattern, what happens, the client says, हाँ, वो मुझे पता करके क्या फायदा? If I understand about that, how is it going to help me? Let me see what I can do. So the mind shift happens. The moment the mind shift happens, then you can talk about the solution. Suppose a client comes and tells you, it always happens with me. This is always happens with me. Suppose, I am a person, many of my tooths have been uprooted. So suppose I say, why it is happening with me? So if I talk about that, it is really not going to help if I want to know those information, because I have a pain, that is why I'm coming and telling about that. Rather than if I say what are the 2 things I should be doing so that whatever remaining assets I have, I really can protect it. So by using the language pattern, what we do, we change a shift, or we make the mind of the client to go for a shift. And when this shift happens, magic is going to happen. So that is how language pattern helps. And once we learn, master, use the language pattern, it goes like a magic.
That's wonderful. So by learning a little bit from you in this conversation, even I'm getting very interested to know that where exactly, I'll talk about doctors because me being in the same profession. So is it can anybody learn NLP, or rather I will be more specific that where can we doctors go and learn NLP? Can you help us in that?
Absolutely. In world, there are many bodies who give NLP, and there are association of NLP bodies. They recommend certain places where NLP one can go and learn. But I tell you, NLP is mostly a trainer-driven process, and there are certain setups and there are certain structures. Anybody who is good at with that structure, one must go and learn from him. I have learned NLP from a body which is called as ANLP. This is Association of Neurolinguistic Programming. And India, the biggest body of that is called as ANLP India, which is Association of Neurolinguistic Programming, which is run by a very famous personality called as Dr. David Lincoln. And people are being certified by him to train others or to certify others. So I am one of the certified trainer who certified people to learn that. So anybody who wants to know more about it can connect me. I can really guide depending on their level or need. I can guide people to go to the right institute to do NLP from. And we are also very soon we are launching an NLP in this Zoom media, which will be advertised very soon. Anybody interested, they can take the advantage of that. Earlier we had not thought of this, but now we are doing that.
That's fantastic. So to come to the concluding part of our conversation, I would really like to know that why you personally believe that NLP is helpful for everyone. I mean, that's a fascinating science which I understood in this little time, and also our viewers have got some understanding about this fascinating area. But then I would like to know why you personally believe that NLP is helpful.
Wonderful. When I have made my own research about the 100 successful people of world, and I have gone and studied as a sample, randomly I have picked up some people and have studied their life style or their life growth, the challenges in life. I have found almost whoever I studied, I found they have used NLP to a great extent. And knowingly and unknowingly, they have used the NLP processes. And in NLP processes, we have processes like, suppose somebody is going through a phobia. We have a process called fast phobia cure. In 10 minutes, the phobia will be out from the individual. And that is why NLP becomes so popular.
I think that's very much necessary for dentistry because people are very much afraid of taking up dental treatment. Yeah.
Yeah. And in our NLP, face-to-face practice sessions, we have done with many of the clients where the phobia is gone in 10 minutes. I mean, it is such a powerful process. And, suppose somebody is missing a level of confidence, there is a process you can run and the person can get the confidence immediately. If somebody is unable to go with an identity, we have a process called Swiss, where the person can stay with an identity of a successful individual and can become successful. If there is an emotional trauma which is not allowing a person to go through, we have a process called time-based processes, where the trauma can be dealt with very easily. So what ultimately NLP does, NLP helps an individual to get a resource. Resource means a strength by which the person can deal with his present limitations. He can unlimit the limit which the person is going through present. That is why I personally believe NLP everybody should know. Like today, everybody is knowing computer, social media, so they are able to do their life. And if they know NLP, they can grow in the life which is with no boundary. That is why NLP unlimits the limit of any individual.
So that was fantastic, Dr. Mangesh, and I think it was an eye-opener session for all of us, for all our viewers. And I wish that we will be having more sessions and more understanding of NLP and other important aspects related to it from you in future. And thank you so much once again for being a part of Eclectica. Well, that was Dr. Mangesh on Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and I'm sure you guys have enjoyed this session a lot, and we have learned a lot of new things. So if you are interested to understand more about NLP, please feel free to write in the comment section and also subscribe our channel so that you can know when we are going up again with another interesting, different news at Eclectica. Thank you so much for joining me in Eclectica, and all the best to all of you. Bye-bye.